Amado Sansu, one of the smartest characters in the Naruto and Boruto franchise. He is a brilliant scientist and former chief researcher of the Cara organization. To describe Amado, he is known for his incredible intellect, manipulative tendencies, and calm demeanor. His deep understanding of the Otsutsuki makes him invaluable in the fight against them, but it also hints at an agenda that may not align entirely with Konoha's interests, as most fans speculate about Amado's ultimate goal, with theories ranging from him seeking revenge against the Otsutsuki to harboring his own ambitions for power. The first theory I would like to go through is a famous theory that being Amado is actually Shibai. The name Shibai is a very common Japanese word that translates to acting or deceiving. The reason the creators gave him this name could be either because he was a deceitful god who altered the memories of others and created new realities with the power of omnipotence, or he could simply be someone else. In the legend in the Hyogo Prefecture, there's a character called Shibaimon Tanuki, a yokai who's counted among the 3 famous tanuki of Japan. His tale is told in the legends of Awaji Island, according to which, while disguised as a human and in the middle of performing an act, he was attacked by a dog and killed. This legend is told slightly differently depending on the location, but each story shares 3 main elements: Shibaimon disguising himself as a human, sharing knowledge or goods with humans, and ultimately being found out and killed by a dog. To summarize the details of this tale, Shibaimon becomes grief-stricken after losing his wife Omasu. At the end of the tale, his cover is blown and he is killed by a guard dog. Amado has lost his daughter, Akebi, from an unknown disease, and when he defected to Konoha, he told those interrogating him what the Otsutsuki do and why they do it, which in this case is sharing knowledge with humans. After Shibaimon's death, the people who came to see Nakaza decreased, and there was a rumor that it was a curse from having killed Shibaimon, so when the theater deified Shibaimon, the number of guests returned. Afterwards, Shibaimon, as a popular god, was deeply worshipped by many actors such as Nakamura Ganjiru, Kataoka Nizaimon, and Fujiyama Kanbi. In the Tokushima Prefecture legend, one of the dogs jumped towards the guest seats, rushed to attack a warrior and gnawed through his throat, bringing about his death. After examining the warrior's remains, the officials found a note in his pocket that said his name was Tanshu Sakiyama Shibaimon, but there did not exist any such warrior by that name in Tanshu. The next morning, when they inspected the remains again, the warrior's appearance turned into that of the yokai Shibaimon Tanuki. It's also mentioned that, at the same time, there was a great war between the 2 great Tanuki forces in Awa, the Awa Tanuki Gassen, and both armies wanted reinforcements. It was rumored that Shibaimon visited Awa Island in order to lend power to one of the armies. And finally, in the Eihon Hyaku Monogatari, the tale is told a bit differently. In this version, there is a peasant man named Shibaimon who befriends a tanuki that transforms into a human and brings him great knowledge. One day, Shibaimon amused the tanuki saying, "Try disguising yourself as a human," and the tanuki changed his appearance into that of a human around 50 years of age, and the tanuki came to visit Shibaimon day by day. Thus, he was informed about various legends and ancient events in great detail, and Shibaimon became greatly knowledgeable as a result and was extravagantly praised by people. Summing all this information up, I bet we can all agree that with the information about a tanuki that seems similar to Shibai, sounds a lot like Amado. Amado also seems to be around the age of 50, so it makes a lot of sense. References from the tale of Shibaimon, which can happen in 2 Blue Vortex, is the fact that Kawaki could be the one to kill Amado, and Kawaki was referred to as a stray dog, and in the tale, Shibaimon was killed by a dog. Amado being Shibai himself would explain how he could give the cyborgs his DNA, rather than conveniently and finding Shibai's body lying around. In fact, it would explain quite a bit more about how he's able to do the things he does if he's just using omnipotence to will things into existence. We also have a parallel between Shibaimon's wife and Amado's daughter. I also mentioned earlier about a great war between two Tanuki forces. Could it be that we can see a war between the Otsutsuki and one side has Shibai while the other has another Otsutsuki god? For that, we can go back to when Sasuke was traveling through Kaguya's dimensions, as we see two statues of unknown Otsutsuki, one of them possibly being Shibai. A rather more plausible case would be that instead of Amado and Shibai being the same person, it could be that Amado could be representing the peasant in the tale, leading to Shibai meeting with Amado at some point and started working together. For the second theory, Shibai will also be involved, but rather than Shibai and Amado working together, it could be that Shibai is using Amado. As I mentioned earlier, the name Shibai means to be acting or deceiving. Amado stated that he found Shibai's body after his daughter had died of an unknown illness and transplanted Shibai's abilities into the cyborgs he created in the time period that he was serving Jigen, who he assumed would revive his daughter if he helped him. Amado was being truthful here, however. He was never loyal to Jigen to begin with. As we know, he and Koji plotted to take him down. Amado only sided with Jigen to learn about the Otsutsuki and the Karma Seal. What if Amado created the cyborgs for another reason, rather than for Jigen? During his time with Jigen, Amado learned that the karma could be manifested in a dormant form as long as the person using it had Otsutsuki DNA, but to activate it, he needed the permission of a god. Amado's intention was still the same, but the means of achieving it was twisted. He constructed a dormant karma in each of the cyborgs he made using Shibai's DNA, hoping that he could fool Jigen into activating it and finally harness Shibai's power to revive his daughter. This is where the white karma comes into play. What if the white karma code isn't actually a dud, but because of Shibai's DNA messing with Ishiki's DNA in the karma, causing code to be uncompatible only during the process of planting the karma, which didn't kill him? Amado took this into account while preparing Kawaki, who somehow has the ability of activating Shinjutsu when he desires. This would mean that implanting a karma on Delta was never a possibility, since it would once again form an imperfect white karma. What Amado actually needs is Kawaki's desire to be ready to do so, and Delta's dormant karma with Shibai's DNA would instantly be activated, which would explain why he couldn't let Kawaki die and betrayed Jigen in order for him to not resurrect into Kawaki. This would mean that besides resurrecting his daughter, Amado would also be able to harness Shibai's power. But what if all this is just a trap? A trap set up by none other than Shibai himself. When we were told about Akebi, we found out about omnipotence, a Shinjutsu that brings out the user's desires. Amado is a scientist who created cyborgs and knows how to recreate the Karma Seal, which is a Shinjutsu, but doesn't know about Akebi's illness. And how was it so convenient for Shibai's body just lying near Amado? This would mean that Amado is not the only one fooling others, but in reality, Shibai is the one plotting his own resurrection. As what his name means, he wouldn't be referred to as a deceiver for nothing. The only problem with this theory is that Shibai has ascended to a higher dimension, becoming a god. For the last theory, I would first like to go over the statues I mentioned in the first theory found in Kaguya's dimension, and would also like to use the Great War part to help with this theory. The statue in blue representing Shibai, and the one in red representing Akebi Otsutsuki. Hear me out, as I will get into detail who Amado could be. What if Shibai and Akebi were the first Otsutsuki to land on Earth, since we know Ishiki and Kaguya weren't the first? Akebi eventually got devoured by the 10 tails, and the chakra fruit was consumed by Shibai, where he then ascended to godhood. Akebi would then search for a vessel to reincarnate, but had the same problem as Ishiki, as she would have only found incompatible vessels. After some years, Jashin Otsutsuki, being her father, arrived on Earth as he hasn't seen his daughter for years and couldn't find her vessel either. So he decides to use divination to summon her soul and bring her back to life. I believe Amado could very well be Jashin. To bring back one's soul from the dead, you need a power that could do that, and that power could be the Kokugan, which Ishiki had, and now Kawaki is the one to wield it. What if rather than Ishiki finding Amado as a random genius human, they had an agreement to revive Akebi Otsutsuki? In return, Amado or Jashin would help him find a compatible vessel. But the reason why Amado betrayed Ishiki could be because since he is an Otsutsuki himself, he knows how deceiving Otsutsuki are. Let's move to the Cara members. Besides implanting Shibai cells into them, he may have also casted a Shinjutsu of his own on them all. You see the numeric symbols on each Cara member representing a Roman number? They each contain a triangle as if they're under a spell. If you're wondering why the triangle would be the proof of a spell or have any connection to Jashin, let's go back to Naruto. In the Akatsuki, there was a religious member named Hidan, a man who had the power to never die. Hidan makes every effort to draw blood from his opponent and consume it. After that, his skin turns black with white markings representing a skeleton, a symbol of absolute death. He then draws Jashin's symbol on the ground in blood and stands in the center. This serves as the link between him and his victim. The symbol Hidan uses represents a triangle, but not just that. But it looks very similar to something Amado himself has used, which could serve as foreshadowing. When Naruto defeated Delta, she went back to the Cara hideout with a drone. She then landed on a pad to connect her consciousness to a cloned body, which Amado obviously made. The cloned bodies are found surrounding a symbol on the ground being almost identical to Hidan's. The only difference is the lines connecting to the bodies, but that could have another meaning of its own. This being that Hidan used the ritual on himself as a worshipper, but Amado is using it on others instead, this being cloned bodies. More proof that Jashin is indeed an Otsutsuki is the Chinoiki clan. The Chinoiki clan was a noble and notorious group during the Warring States period. After the new established peace, they joined the Hidden Cloud Village along with another clan that desired sanctuary. After their resurrection through Chino, the ancestor and savior of the clan made sure to secure the clan's future by gaining the 5th and 6th Mizukaga's trust and sanctuary after aiding in conflicts plaguing their land. The clan would regrow in number with the help of the Clan Restoration Act in place, allowing them to once again establish their place in the village and become the strongest clan in the Land of Water, reputed for their Ketsuryugen, an ocular power rivaling the Uchiha's Sharingan, and their unique skill in Genjutsu made them quite the fearsome group. The Chinoiki have also used tools directly tied to the infamous Jashin cult and various other culture-made weapons to perform agile, precise, and cuts into the opponent. Jashin could be the progenitor of the Chinoiki clan, as we know that all dojutsu come from Otsutsuki. Since the Ketsuryugen has blood abilities, and Hidan was a part of a cult that worshipped Jashin and they used blood to use their powers, it makes sense. For all we know, Hidan's immortality can be a form of karma, just like the Byakugo seal could be. Inheritance could play an important key, as besides the Sharingan and other dojutsu, there is a clan that have something Kaguya had but weaker, which is the Kaguya clan itself. Descendants of Kaguya have a higher likelihood of possessing physical mutations. For instance, Kimimara's bone manipulation may be due to him being a possible descendant of Kaguya. Kaguya herself was able to manipulate her bones to create ash-killing bones. As for dojutsu, they are clearly mutations of Shinjutsu. The human Byakugan is a mutation from the Byakugan, which the Otsutsuki wield. We can tell, because Momoshiki's has added powers like Future Sight. The Sharingan is a mutation of the Rinnegan. Ada's eyes are an artificial mutation of Shibai's ocular Shinjutsu. I'm sure if Ishiki somehow passed his powers down to humans, we'd have the inferior version of the Kokugan. And in that way, it's possible that the Ketsuryugen is a mutation of a stronger related power to Jashin. If Shibai or Jashin were on Earth, It explains the other god tree that was there when Kaguya and Ishiki arrived. The Ketsuryugen controls iron in the blood, and Jashin's ritual is tied to blood. The marks that appear on Haiden resemble karma. His village was near the area where the Chinoiki clan resided, and Haiden got into Jashinism after investigating their village. Furthermore, the core principle of Jashinism is killing those close to you. The Chinoiki clan killed each other, which is what Haiden found. And most importantly, we know that the Uchihas drove them off their original residence, which means there was a common time frame and place of origin between this clan and the other Otsutsuki descendants. As in, they can all be linked to the region of the original god tree. What do you guys think of these theories? From these theories, I'd lean on the fact that Amado is not human. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe with post notifications on so you wouldn't miss any new content. Leave a comment down below to let me know about your thoughts. Anyways, that's it from me. See you guys next time.